went right under my sheets and I just could not stop crying. It was just all coming out.
I'm excited to hear about your IG Live series. Can you tell us a little bit about the backstory? How did that get started?
So the genesis of this IG Live series really was inspired by, frankly, my IG fam, like my internet community on Instagram, in a really vulnerable moment, rare moment. I actually went on IG Live during my baby moon when I was in Mexico. And I was just, I just came off of a really beautiful day, like a really good day. And if you're pregnant or if you've been pregnant, that like you celebrate a good day, like they aren't every day. So I like, it was the first time I put on a swimsuit and like went out into the water and like felt the sunshine on me after a really rough holiday of getting COVID and being stuck in New York City, freezing New York City for 10 days I hadn't planned on. And just like, it's been a trying period, this pregnancy. And it's just been like thing after thing after thing that's just challenged us. And so getting to this baby moon period, I was like kind of in a state of bliss. And I asked my husband to take some pictures of me with my baby bump, which is like finally popping. It's like fully here. And I posted it on my Instagram, and then it wasn't until the next day that I picked up my phone again. I was just disconnecting and really being present, having a great time. And then the next day was a really bad day. And I've had a lot of those. Yeah. And when I say it was a bad day, just physically, emotionally, spiritually, I just felt drained and in pain. I have a condition called SPD, which is pubic symphysis dysfunction or disorder. And it is essentially a result of a hormone that's released during your pregnancy called relaxin that is supposed to loosen your ligaments in your pelvic area to prepare for childbirth. But there's an overreaction to this relaxin that essentially has your pelvis opening up prematurely, which then creates instability in your hips and makes it naturally very hard to walk or even move sometimes. It's excruciating to even roll over in bed. Getting out of bed, you need help. Going to the bathroom, you need help. Putting on your socks and your underwear and your shoes and your pants, like you need help. And so it's just really humbling physically. And some days are better than others. And the day before, I was like, I'm walking, I'm out here, I'm in my cute bathing suit. And then the very next day, I went to a breathwork class at the hotel that we were staying at. And that I thought it was just going to be like really relaxing, perfect for pregnancy, like where I imagined that we would just sit there and kind of like do these breathing exercises for an hour. And instead it turned into, to my surprise, it turned into more of like a yoga class, like a movement heavy class. Okay. And it wasn't like strenuous movement. It was like very simple movements, but movements that I could not do nonetheless. And as somebody who is takes pride in my athleticism and just being able-bodied and, independent and like, as somebody who's constantly doing the most, coming to the edge of your limits physically and recognizing that sometimes you can do the very least and maybe you can't even do the very least is extremely humbling. And so I found myself in this class where like I couldn't get back up. I had to sit down. I just felt like this wave of emotion of defeat come over me. And I was like fighting back tears. And, as soon as the class was over and my husband helped me up off the floor, I went back to my room and I went right under my sheets and I just could not stop crying. It was just all coming out. And it was like tears that maybe like cumulative tears that had been backed up from many bad days in this pregnancy and never really feeling like I had an outlet or a way to express it, and just feeling alone in it. Jonathan had a work call. So, he was really being comforting and supportive and there with me. But he had to go to his call. And so I picked up my phone, and that was the first time that I saw the like outpouring of support and just like the sweet comments from people on the previous day's post, which was like happy and sunshiny and the beach and the bump. And I just felt in that moment so dissociated. Like I felt like there is this person, this avatar representing my pregnancy online that I'm responsible for, that's being showered with like superficial praise about a superficial post that I put up yesterday when I was feeling in a very different headspace. And today looks nothing like that. I'm like uncontrollably crying under my sheets and can't get up. And I felt like in that moment, there was a disassociation between what was projected into the world and what my actual experience of pregnancy really was. And I felt convicted and compelled to contribute more to this public space and to this kind of public conversation about what pregnancy really looks like and feels like than just a pretty baby bump picture, and I felt a responsibility, like as a journalist, as a truth teller, as somebody who really thrives in building community with women around truth telling. And, I just like, if I can't be fully vulnerable, transparent, and like just truthful, honest on this platform, I really, it starts to feel toxic. I don't want to feel like I'm like living a lie or perpetuating lies or presenting false narratives or contributing to false narratives that are actually harmful and that lead to other people comparing themselves to what isn't real and feeling more alone. Like I don't want to be a part of that at all. And so I felt like if I am going to put myself out there on my good days and share the good stuff, like there is a responsibility for someone like me with the platform that I have and really the community that I have and what that community is based on, the integrity, the truth telling. Like I actually have to push myself to also share the bad things. And so I just decided, I just did a little prayer to just get kind of confirmation and to just like ask the Holy Spirit to guide me, because it wasn't prepped. It wasn't like, premeditated at all, but just like in that moment, like as the tears were falling, I was like, I feel like I have to tell the truth right now. And so I did. So I jumped on IG Live and I just kind of shared what a bad day looks like for me while I'm pregnant. I trusted that it would reach who it was meant for, and that any sort of like anyone who like doesn't get it, like it would miss them, because sometimes that can stop you from telling the truth. It could stop you from sharing, which really is so cathartic, and that gives you an opportunity to really build with people who are here for you and here for the truth, and like really actually eager to connect around harder truths that you really don't hear very much, especially in that space on Instagram, which is really so much about your highlight reel and your pretty pictures and like the superficial stuff. But it's just not how I want to show up all the time. Like I want to share my good days, but I also want to be able to share bad days and hard truths, and be able and to cultivate a conversation around these issues that are not discussed enough.